What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Football Busters podcast. It's our 20th episode. Pretty cool, man. We're moving fast out here. We started about 2 months ago, so thank you if you've been watching our videos in the past. But yeah, let's get into it today. So we are doing another start sit video. My name's Eric, the faceless man over there. His name is Will. If you've seen any of our other start sit videos in the past, then you know why he has not shown his face yet. But if you haven't joined us for those, let me explain to you what's going on. So we do these videos for you guys to try to help you out, make you better, more well-rounded fantasy football players, help you make decisions for your starting lineups each and every week, stuff like that. So quick little aside, if you do find these useful, if you do get something from this video, please drop us a like. That would be very much appreciated. That would help us out a ton. Subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff, and comment. If you guys have your specific sit starts that you want us to answer, we'd be more than happy to do that. So back to my explanation, we do these for you, but we also want to make it fun for us. So we make it kind of a competition between the two of us. We have 10 sit starts every week. Whoever gets the most right wins. Whoever loses has to wear a costume, a mask, something like that. There's not really any rules. It's just got to be funny. So I haven't seen it yet. You haven't seen it yet. Will, I can't wait. What do you got in store for us this week?
Well, man, I keep losing and stuff, man, but I could do this all day.
Hey,
I could do.
Captain America, what's up, baby?
Hey, man, Captain America's black now, even in the actual movies and shit. So I feel like this is fitting nowadays.
I love it.
Yeah.
Looking good, man.
Thanks, man.
Hell yeah.
I could do this all day. Just keep getting the shit beat out of me in these challenges. Keep coming out in these silly costumes. I could do this all day.
I really don't understand, man. I feel like these sit starts are supposed to be 50-50. It's supposed to be borderline, but every single week.
It's just going to keep getting worse.
It's just bad luck, man. It'll turn around for you. One of these days, I'm going to show up in the costume, and yeah, hopefully the people will enjoy it. But I'm really digging what you've brought to the table so far. It's been fire.
Hey, man, I've been trying. I feel like as long as we got Kyle Pitts on this list, I'm going to keep wearing these costumes.
We'll see if he stays on the list. He's questionable right now with a hamstring injury.
God damn it.
If he sits, then we'll have to push that one to next week.
God damn it.
Fingers crossed he stays healthy. But let's get into it. Week 5 start sits. I know you all are chomping at the bit to get our opinion, see what Will says this week. Let's start off at the quarterback position. We got one sit start between quarterbacks. Will, would you like to go first, or would you like me to start us off?
Yeah, I'll kick this one off. I'll go ahead.
All right, so we got Jared Goff at the New England Patriots, or Derek Carr at Kansas City.
So this one is actually a little bit easier than it would have been for me, prior to the season starting. Before the season started, I would have had a completely different answer. But with the way things have been going lately, out of these two, I would go Jared Goff. And I'm going to pick Jared Goff. He's been low-key like a top 10 quarterback in fantasy this year. He's on the highest scoring offense in the league right now, which is the Lions for some reason. And Derek Carr, while the Raiders-Chiefs game should be a high-scoring game, it's not something that we've really been able to count on with this division as much as we thought that we would. And Derek Carr, he's seen his struggles this season so far. Unless he's throwing the ball to Devontae Adams, stuff has been a little bit rough for him lately. So for me, I'm going Jared Goff against New England. I just like that look a little bit better.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think you summed that up well. This one it's still pretty difficult for me. Jared Goff is obviously coming off of a quarterback 1 overall performance last week. He looked great against the Seahawks. He's going up against a New England defense that is pretty stingy against the pass. I believe. I know they're stingy against the run, but they've been more slow-paced, and they've been able to kind of maintain the pace of play no matter who they're playing with the run game. So I think they could potentially slow down this offense just by keeping them off the field a little bit. I know that Tom Brady just had one of his best, or his definitely best game of the season last week when he faced the Chiefs, and a lot of it kind of in garbage time trying to catch up. So that could mean something for Derek Carr. He could possibly get it going. but it's really hard for me to disagree with you here. I think I'm probably going to side with you and go Jared Goff.
Join us.
Join us. All right, let's move on to the running back position. We got two here. Go to the first one with Antonio Gibson versus the Tennessee Titans, or Tyler Algier, Tampa Bay versus the Buccaneers. This one is interesting. For context, Antonio Gibson started week 1 looking really, really good, really involved in the passing game, pretty efficient on the ground. Since week 1, efficiency has gone down, usage has gone down. He's not really being used in the passing game anymore. It's not looking good for Antonio Gibson. And to add on to that, Brian Robinson is back at practice, and they're actually expecting him to make his season debut this week. So there's a lot of mouths to feed. We got Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, J.D. McKissic, even Jonathan Williams was getting touches last week.
Yeah.
I don't know that if Brian Robinson comes back, then maybe Jonathan Williams is phased out. But the fact that Williams was getting touches when Antonio Gibson was healthy, it's pretty indicative that, they don't really like what Antonio Gibson is doing. So that's certainly concerning. And then you have Tyler Algier. Cordell Patterson is on IR. I believe Damian Williams is also still on IR. So it's going to be the Tyler Algier, Caleb Huntley, maybe Avery Williams show. It's still kind of a committee. There's a lot of people back there, and they're going up against Tampa Bay, one of the toughest defenses in the league. So I wouldn't want to start either of these guys, but I know I have to make a decision. I think I'm going to go with Antonio Gibson here, mostly just because of the opponent. I feel like this offense is going to have a better chance to get things going against Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree with that also. That was something that we had spoken, or at least I had spoken about on the TikTok that we made. Check us out on TikTok, guys. We got some stuff going up on there for like waiver wire stuff and just miscellaneous videos. But we had spoken about, go ahead.
At Fantasy Footballers, at Fantasy Football Busters. Of course, we're not the Fantasy Footballers.
Yeah, you guys can follow them too, man. Shit, I don't care.
Go check us both out.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Tyler Algier, he has all the opportunity, or at least not all the opportunity. It should be a committee, but he should have pretty good opportunity, but he's going up against a tough defense. And I typically, like you said, I don't really like picking any running back against Tampa Bay. They've had one of the stingiest run defenses for the last 5 years. So I'm definitely going to be leaning towards Antonio Gibson as well. So we're going to reach a consensus on this one, Antonio Gibson against Tennessee. I don't like the fact that I love the fact that Brian Robinson's coming back. Let's say that. But not for Antonio Gibson in fantasy. So.
Right.
But I think he still has a propensity to do a little bit better than Tyler Algier this week.
I dig it. We're on the same page. We'll get to our next running back start sit. We got Raheen Mostert at the New York Jets, or Najee Harris at Buffalo against the Bills. Throw this one to you.
Okay, so we got Raheen Mostert against the Jets, or Najee Harris against Buffalo. And it's going to seem sacrilegious. Najee Harris was a first-round pick this year, but I'm going Raheen Mostert. I think that Mike McDaniels, right? Yeah, so many McDaniels.
No S.
Huh?
No S. Mike McDaniel.
There's so many
Josh McDaniels, Mike McDaniel. It's tough.
Yeah. But I think he's a big fan of Raheen Mostert. Raheen Mostert is slowly beginning more and more looks in this offense. He's been getting more and more meaningful looks in this offense as well. I know it hasn't looked like it on paper because Chase Edmonds has been coming down with the touchdowns, but Raheen Mostert has been pretty involved in this offense. And the Jets' defense, even though Buffalo's a little bit banged up, I still value their defense a little bit more than the New York Jets' defense. I feel like this is a game that the Dolphins should be up, but, you never really know with this season so far. But I think this is a good opportunity for Raheen Mostert to at least, get some meaningful touches while the game is close, and also keep running the ball when they do get a pretty big lead and they're just running the clock out. So I think it does game script favors Raheen Mostert over Najee Harris at Buffalo.
Yeah, this one's tough. Obviously, if you drafted Najee, you probably took him in the first round. The idea of sitting him for Raheen Mostert seems blasphemous, I'm sure. But I think I'm probably going to agree with you. Najee has been fairly disappointing. He's had some okay games. I think in half PPR formats, week 2 and week 3, he scored around 11 points. But the other 2 games, he's been below 10. And this is definitely the hardest defense that he's going to be going up against. They got a new quarterback coming in, and Kenny Pickett. We'll see how he adjusts to the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah.
I think all around it's going to be really, really rough for the Steelers this week. Raheen Mostert, like you said, his usage has continually risen since week 1. Chase Edmonds has gotten a lot of the red zone opportunities, but even that has been slowly going into favor of Raheen Mostert. They also have a different quarterback this week. They're going with Teddy Bridgewater since Tua is going to be out. And I think that might mean that they go slightly more run heavy. I think it's still going to be pretty balanced, but maybe they lean more on the running backs with a different quarterback under center. And for that reason, I'm going to go Mostert as well.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, that will lead us into the wide receiver position. We got 3 different start sits here. I really wish that I had gone first on the first one because I don't want to make this decision. This might be the toughest one on the board for me.
Now, being honest with you, this is the one I saw, and I counted them out, and I was like, yeah, let me go first.
All right, so you were calculated here. I like it.
A little bit.
I like it. We got Juju Smith-Schuster going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, or Adam Thielen taking on the Chicago Bears. Super close. We're splitting hairs here. Juju has been fairly disappointing, in my opinion, from what I thought he was going to be. Behind Travis Kelce so far, he has been the number 1 wide receiver option. It just hasn't led to as much volume as we thought it was going to be. I believe he's sitting around like an 18% target share, which in an offense throwing as much as the Chiefs are with, as high of a pass rate over expectation as the Chiefs have, it's not a terrible role. He's had a couple weeks that have been fairly usable. He just hasn't really gotten in the end zone. I don't think he scored once this season, has he?
Nope, not a single time.
So maybe touchdown regression ends up going in his favor. Tough to say. Adam Thielen started out the season fairly disappointing, but these past couple weeks he's been more and more involved. He's been getting a lot of targets. He's on the up and up, but they're also playing the Bears. I would hope that the Vikings would dominate in this matchup and they can start to go pretty run heavy. They don't have to, they're not going to be in a game script where they're going to be forced to throw. Man, this is tough. I'm going to go Juju and hope he gets in the end zone. Oh, but I'm not confident.
Yeah, and with that, I'm going to go Adam Thielen against the Bears. He's just been very, very involved in this offense, especially since week 2, he's gotten 8.5 targets per game. So, I know it's a 2-game sample size, but I do think Kirk does like Adam Thielen. I think they're starting to open this offense up a little bit more because week 1 they were very top heavy, and they've since started to spread things out just a little bit more. But I don't trust Juju yet. I want to see a little bit more out of him. I do like his target share. I do like his opportunity there, and I like the team. But apparently all the bullshit touchdowns are going to Clyde Edwards-Helaire and not to Juju. Yeah. So I'm swinging towards Adam Thielen this week just to see. So that's where we're gonna split off for one.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I feel like I might lose that one. But I mean, we've been pounding the table against CEH and all these bullshit touchdowns and weird usage. So maybe this week it'll actually balance out and go to somebody good at football.
I hope so.
Yeah. So let's get to our number 2 matchup at wide receiver. We got Deontay Johnson. Again, Steelers are going up against the Buffalo Bills. They're in Buffalo. Or Corey Davis in New York versus Miami.
Now, I love Deontay's target share. I love how much he's looked at in this offense. I love how much Mike Tomlin values him. However, I am going to go with my waiver wire pickup of the week, Mr. Corey Davis for the Jets. I just feel like he has been very involved in this offense. I think Zach Wilson is a very big fan of Corey Davis. For those of y'all who don't know, they practice together in the offseason, stuff like that. And he's just been very involved in this offense, more so than people would imagine. He's the wide receiver 24, and before this past week, he was owned in 7% of leagues. So he's just one of those guys who's really under the radar, been performing really well. And I think that's going to continue going forward, especially in a game where they should be throwing the ball a lot because Miami should be dominating this game.
Yeah, I think this one's really tough too. I like all of what you said. All of that makes a lot of sense. I think people are going overboard with the like half a game splits that we got with Kenny Pickett. He came in and heavily targeted George Pickens, but he, I don't know. I think that Deontay Johnson is still going to be just as involved as he was with Mitchell Trubisky. I think he demands a high target share, but this matchup is just so bad. I feel like it's just going to be punt after punt, if not interception after interception for this Steelers team. Can't believe I'm trusting Zach Wilson more than another quarterback, but I think I'm going to have to agree with you and go Corey Davis here. He's been really surprising. I think 3 out of 4 games he scored over 10 points. He's gotten in the end zone a few times already this season. I think he's outscoring Deontay Johnson so far on the season as well. So I'm going to root for him to keep it up, and we're going to go with Corey Davis.
Hell yeah.
So that will lead us into our final wide receiver versus wide receiver matchup. We got Terry McLaurin going up against the Tennessee Titans, or Romeo Doubs against the New York Giants. I believe I am picking this one first. So for context, Terry McLaurin is going to be in probably a little bit better position than he has been in past weeks because Jahan Dotson is out with a hamstring injury. So Jahan has been getting quite a few looks. He's been getting a lot of red zone looks. He's scored quite a few touchdowns so far this season. But it's going to be an even tighter kind of target funnel with Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin in Tennessee. The matchup should be fairly juicy. Tennessee has been giving up a lot of points. So, I want to go with Terry, but being a Commanders fan, it's hard for me to ever trust them. Romeo Doubs has also had a fantastic couple weeks. He scored, I believe, both of the past 2 weeks, and he dropped a second touchdown last week that could have made him have a huge fantasy week. They're going up against the Giants, also not a very difficult matchup. I'm just a hater, man. I can't go with my own team. I'm going to go Romeo Doubs here.
Yeah, I agree with just about all the sentiments you had there. I don't trust Carson Wentz more than I trust Aaron Rodgers in any situation. And Romeo Doubs, he's had the volume, he's had the opportunity, he's just got to catch him. So, and I trust him to catch him. I don't think he's a big drop guy either. So I'm also going to go Romeo Doubs in this situation as well. I'm hoping that stuff turns around for Terry, especially since people probably spent a good amount of draft capital on him. But there's no real telling with Carson Wentz. That's the biggest X factor right there. If he's having a bad game, Terry's going to also have a really bad game.
Yeah, 100%. I thought you were going to take Terry. I don't know why. I just had a feeling, but glad we're on the same page there.
Yeah, Terry has not been it this year.
He really hasn't. It's unfortunate. All right, so we got 3 flex matchups between running backs and wide receivers here for you. First one, Ezekiel Elliott going to LA to face the Rams, or Drake London at Tampa Bay versus the Buccaneers.
This is actually a really tough one as well.
Yeah.
The Rams are not performing this year like they should be. They're not. And the Cowboys could easily get a lead on them and just, Zeke, we're riding you the rest of the game. And then Drake London against Tampa Bay. I don't even know what kind of cylinders Tampa Bay is going to be firing on this week with all the news that's been going on, outside of football. Yeah. It's rough sledding.
You worried Gisele's going to have an impact on this game?
Yeah, she might, bro. I think she's had an impact on this whole season so far because Tom Brady has not looked like himself so far.
Potentially.
But I don't want to get cute. Damn, bro. This is actually a really tough one. See, because I like Zeke. I like how much his usage is in this Cowboys offense. They don't have Dak back yet. So it still knocks Zeke down a couple pegs, I guess, in terms of, how effective he's going to be. But he's still going to get a lot of volume. Drake London has gotten a ton of volume so far this year, more than anybody ever expected. Tampa Bay's pass defense isn't the best. I'm gonna go Drake London. I'm gonna go Drake London.
Okay.
I think this Tampa Bay Falcons game is gonna be a lot closer than people think, just because of
All right.
extenuating circumstances, or they get blown out and they got to throw the ball a lot. So yeah,
Yeah, I dig it. I think I could make a pretty reasonable argument for either of these players in this situation. Like you said, the Rams have been really disappointing. The Cowboys without Dak have been pretty surprisingly good. Um, I think that this could be a fairly close game. The Rams have actually been a pretty good run defense. But, if the Cowboys are up in this game, they're still going to rely on the run, probably regardless. Zeke has gotten an okay amount of work in the passing game. He's not a total zero as a receiver. And then Drake London, obviously, he's coming off of last week where Mariota completed, 7 passes in total for the entire game?
yeah. Hopefully they don't do that again.
I can't imagine they do that again against Tampa Bay. There's in my opinion, there's no way that they're winning this game. I, but then the game script is in favor of throwing the ball a ton. This defense is really good. Can Mariota even get it to Drake London, even if they have to pass a lot? I'm not sure. I think, if I'm being totally honest, ultimately I was just going to choose whoever you didn't. I'm going to go Zeke
Okay.
against the Rams.
Okay, I like that strategy. I fuck with that. I do that sometimes too. I fuck with that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, it's really a toss up. You can side with whatever, I made the argument for both. But yeah, we're going to go Zeke here versus the Rams. We'll get into our second flex matchup with A.J. Dillon going up against the New York Giants, or Robert Woods in Washington versus the Commanders. And I guess I start this one, don't I?
Mm-hmm.
So, A.J. Dillon was somebody that I was definitely touting. I feel like both of us were touting fairly highly pre-draft. We thought that he was going to be really highly involved in this offense. If anything were to happen to Aaron Jones, he could really have a huge ceiling. He has been really involved. He's been getting a lot of carries. He's just been really inefficient. He hasn't really gotten in the end zone, and it's been a tough road for A.J. Dillon. Robert Woods, on the other hand, started out really disappointing. He was somebody that I wasn't very high on coming into the season. In these last couple of weeks, he's actually bounced back and looked fairly decent. He got in the end zone last week, I believe, had a pretty good game. The Giants have a decent run defense. Washington's defense seems to be pretty terrible across the board.
Butter.
Yeah. So with that being said, I think I'm going to go with Robert Woods against Washington.
And I'm going to mirror that sentiment with Robert Woods. I think A.J. Dillon, it seems like the Packers aren't really using him a whole lot until it's like late game situations where they really do need somebody to run out the clock and just kind of grind away the end of the game. It feels like that's when they've been using him a lot, which I hope changes. But at the same time, one day it's going to end up making for some pretty good fantasy points, I feel like. But I don't think it's going to be this week against the Giants. I think, like you said, Robert Woods, he's on the upswing right now. Treylon Burks isn't playing right now because he's hurt. So he's just got more opportunity in this offense. And like you said, Washington's secondary has not been great. Washington's defense has not been great. So, yeah, I'm going Robert Woods on this one.
I dig it. Yeah, you make a couple of really good points. Treylon Burks missing is going to open up more opportunities for Woods. And I think you're right. A.J. Dillon, for whatever reason, they've just been using him more late game. I guess it kind of makes sense. Aaron Jones has been really, really efficient. He's looked amazing on the ground and through the air so far this year. So feed the hot hand, I guess.
Agreed.
Into our last flex matchup, we have Devin Singletary taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, or Brandon Cooks at Jacksonville going up against the Jaguars.
Oh, no, I got to go first, don't I?
Yes, you do.
No. Okay, so Devin Singletary started out the season really well. Since then, he has petered off quite a bit. He's going up against this Pittsburgh defense who isn't the best, but also they're not bad either. But you got Brandon Cooks against the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are a lot better than the Texans. And I think this is a game that the Texans are going to have to fight their way back into, right? They're going to have to keep throwing the ball. I think Davis Mills is going to have to throw the ball to Brandon Cooks quite a bit. Brandon Cooks has had a pretty good target share in this offense. He just, hasn't really done a whole lot with it. But I trust Brandon Cooks. I trust Brandon Cooks' role in his offense more than I trust Devin Singletary's role with the Bills. It's scary. It's very scary. But, yeah, I'm going Brandon Cooks against Jacksonville instead of Devin Singletary.
All right. So I am pulling up the numbers for Devin Singletary because you mentioned his performance. I think, not to call you out specifically, because I think a lot of people, if they haven't been paying attention, probably think the same thing. But you said he started out okay and he's been petering off. It's been kind of the opposite. In the first 2 weeks in half PPR scoring, he started with 7.2 and 3.1 points, below double-digit carries, not a ton of involvement in the receiving game. And then he played Miami, and that was his biggest game of the season by far, with 19.6 points. He still didn't get above double-digit carries, but he was really involved in the passing game with 11 targets, 9 receptions, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Last week against Baltimore, he was pretty heavily involved again, 9.6 points. It seems like to me that he's going to be more fantasy viable when they're playing difficult opponents, and when the game's going to be closer. I don't see that being the case against Pittsburgh. But you could also make the argument that maybe because they're going up against Pittsburgh, they'll get up to a big lead. They got to, run the ball. I don't know. Tough to say. Brandon Cooks has been fairly disappointing. He did get back in the end zone last week. But this Jacksonville defense has been surprisingly and kind of under the radar really, really good. They struggled against Philly last week, but Philly's maybe the best team in the league right now. Tough to say otherwise. And also, the weather was just crazy. It was a weird game. But besides that, they've been shutting it down. I think you make a good point that the game script is going to be in favor of Houston passing the ball a lot. But I don't know. It's hard for me to trust Brandon Cooks. It's hard for me to trust. I'm blanking on his name. Long neck QB.
Oh, Davis Mills.
Davis Mills. Of course, fair that I blank on his name. But I'm going to go Devin Singletary.
Didn't blank on his neck though.
Didn't blank on his neck. You can never forget it once you see it. Yeah, I'm gonna go Devin Singletary versus Pittsburgh. We need some more disagreements here. I think that brings us to 3 disagreements. So we'll do that before we get into our last matchup. Which, if you haven't joined us for any of our previous episodes, this is a running segment that we hope ends ASAP, but it seems like it's just going to keep going. Kyle Pitts or a random waiver wire tight end. I hate to see it every week, but we're doing it once again. Hopefully Kyle Pitts stays healthy and this is a fair fight. Kyle Pitts at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Big Montana Will Dissly at the New Orleans Saints.
Hey, no cap. Actually, it's your turn to go first. I'll let you go.
It is my turn, but you were ready.
Oh yeah,
you were ready to go. I feel like I know what you were gonna say. Ride or die, man. Ride or die. Do I do it? I guess here, let's talk through this together. Let's provide some value to the audience here. Kyle Pitts, he is dealing with a hamstring injury. We talked about this matchup when we were discussing Drake London. I would assume that the Falcons are probably going to be down. They're probably going to be forced to pass. Mariota has not looked good so far this season. And this Tampa Bay defense is a tough one, both on the ground and through the air. They're probably easier to beat through the air than on the ground. But there's not too many more options to throw the ball to other than Kyle Pitts and Drake London. His upside is obviously there. I believe he's, second at the tight end position in air yards. The underlying numbers are still good. It's just he hasn't really produced as a fantasy weapon. Will Dissly, on the other hand, is raking in like 2 targets a game, but somehow scoring in 3 out of 4 games. He's gone over double digits in 3 out of 4 games. And I believe he's the tight end 10 on the season in half PPR formats. With all that being said, I still don't know what to do. I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts, I guess.
All right. And no cap, I'm going to go Will Dissly, man.
Yeah.
Strictly for the memes. Just because, Geno's out there. He's balling just how Pete Carroll wanted him to. Everybody's out there. Man, it just feels good to have a quarterback that does what the coach tells him to. Russell Wilson, system QB, all ringing the dinner bell. Pete Carroll, best coach of all time. That Super Bowl loss, all Russell Wilson's fault. He probably audibled to a pass. Pete Carroll wanted to run, and he didn't listen. I'm going Will Dissly.
Preach. Free Pete Carroll.
Free Pete Carroll, and he's finally free this year.
Oh, man. Who would have thought? What a season we've had so far, man. This is crazy. Yeah, no confidence. I'm definitely nervous. You're going to get me with Will Dissly there. This might be your week, Will. This might be your time.
Hey, don't count on it. But but hey, man, I got just as much of a chance as every other week, so we'll find out.
We'll find out. All right. That will do it for us. Thank you for joining us. If you stuck with us to the end, we very, very much appreciate you. We love you. Thank you very much. If you gained something from this video, like I said earlier, please drop a like. We would appreciate that very much. That helps us out. If you want to see our future videos coming out down the pipeline, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when they come out. We have been dropping 2 videos a week. I believe we're now going to go to 3. So we got a lot of content coming out for you guys. Also, check us out on our other channels. We got TikTok going. We just put our first video out over there. We're going to be putting more of those out as we go. That is at Fantasy Football Busters on TikTok.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Link should be down in the description as well. I'll make sure the link is down in the description. That way you guys don't got to search it. You can just click it straight from here if you want.
Perfect. We'll make it easy on them. Also, check us out on Twitter if you haven't. We post stuff on there on Sundays, getting ready for the games. Follow all the people that I follow if you want to be in the know for fantasy football. Will, you got anything else left to say to the people before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Love you guys, and hopefully next week I'm not wearing a costume, but I ain't confident in it.
Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.
I'm winning again. How could I lose? I was born just to win. Could never lose, so I'm winning again. I'm winning again. I'm winning again. Minute by minute, I'm meeting the end.